Hey man. Let me just close the door. Just had dinner with my family at Phở 88. One of this Vietnamese store that we love to go to, and just had dinner. It's a little early, so decided to let the kids go to the playground at McDonald's. Yeah. And so I thought I want to share this short video with you today. Part of some of you who have been following me would know that I'm on this 1-year travel adventure with my family. Basically, we literally sold everything off back in Singapore and take a 1-year trip to Europe and now in US of A. So this is what we have been doing. And how did we came to this decision? Well, part of it was because I was getting really burnout at work. So, you know, when I started my training and consulting firm, one of the things that I wanted to do was to make sure that it was really successful. And so it was. I mean, within less than 4 years, we have a reach of more than 50%. You know, literally almost all our new businesses were referrals. And in terms of revenue, we hit 6-figure very soon. So you know, it was successful. Now, but success did come at a price. I was literally working, you know, between 12 to 16 hours a day easily. And one of the things I found that I was spending more time at work than with my family. Like my earlier videos, I said that, you know, things really didn't change much for me, even though after I got married, because I was still, you know, trying to live like a single even when I was married in terms of my schedule. But when I became a dad, and especially the second time, I decided that, hey, I wanted to invest time with my family. I want to make sure that, you know, I'm with them during their formative years. I want to be the one to kind of teach them the right things, their values and all. And so, you know, I make that decision. But part of it was also because I was getting burnout. Now, being a solopreneur, I think the thing that kind of the curse of it is that, you know, you can't do everything yourself. And at that point in time, you know, I wasn't clever enough, or I was working myself to death. And so, you know, one of the things that I was really lacking was systems. And so what I've done right now, it's really, I've kind of rethink the way that I conduct my business. I've relooked at the way that I put in place processes. So, you know, even before I have a client right now in my new business, even though before I have a client, I already have the processes, you know, laid out to kind of make sure that that part is taken care of, because then I know this is the repetitive, low value, or, you know, the repetitive work that can be replaced by automation using, you know, technology, for example, because you may not necessarily want to outsource everything, because sometimes when you outsource, you can outsource the soul and the character of it. So I want to make sure that I kind of retain that as much as I can, and the best way to do that is, of course, through, you know, through automation. And so what I've really done, it's really to leverage technology, leverage the internet to kind of help me do some part of the work, some part of the automation. Like, for example, onboarding. It's a part where I make sure that I have a series of processes, and those are, you know, handled by automation, by technology. When it comes to marketing, for example, you know, there are a series of processes that I've mapped out. Some of that can be handled by technology, some that cannot. So that's where I need to come in, or that's where I need to step in. And at some point in time, I would imagine that I would need to, involve other people in business, whether through a virtual assistant or some kind of assistant, for example. So the key idea here is that, as a solopreneur, more than anything else, even more so as a solopreneur, we really need systems and processes in place, because with the right system, we are able to not just replicate whatever we've been doing and have it, being done in a way that is still retains the character. Purely using automation, using technology, for example. Without mapping that out, it's really difficult. So some of you may be asking, like, so how do I map out the process? Well, the best way to map out the process is to write it down. Some people prefer to use Google Docs. What I prefer to use is this tool called Workflowy. So basically, I go in this way. So for example, when I'm mapping out the process of, the whole process of how the user experience is like on my website, I go with step one. How would someone find me? So people would find me either through search or through social. Yeah, and then when they come through these two channels, where would they land? So depending on the let's just look at it from the very beginning. So social and search. So let's say they come in and they were introduced to an article that I wrote about how do you start your online consulting business. So that's where you come in. You will come on a landing page, and that landing page will talk to you about starting an online consulting business. What are the steps? Yeah, and this page itself basically is a comprehensive guide that tells you, okay, if you want to start your online consulting business, there are basically 3 things that you need to think about. One is that, what are your strengths? All right, what are your strengths? What are your talents, for example? And once you have done that, this is where you go. But if you have not identified what is your strength, then you might want to download this worksheet where it will help you identify what could be your strength. So once you have identified your strength, you go on to the next phase. Once you have identified your strength, you want to know that your strength or the solution that you are providing actually solves a problem. So the next step is to say that, okay, now I know what my strength is, but does it solve a real life problem? Because I've always had this thing that you can be the best car mechanic in the world, but if none of the cars in the world breaks down, you would have no business at all. So after identifying your strength, what kind of real life problem does it solve? And then next, you want to know that, okay, if it does solve a problem, then you go on to the next step. And the next step is, if you know that it solves a problem, you want to know whether it's viable to as a business. So when we say viable, of course, for different people, it means different things. For a solopreneur, for an online consulting, solopreneur, for example, viable means that if I want to put in, X amount of time, what is the output that I'm going to get? And will that income earned be able to help me, cover or even, allow me to sustain my lifestyle, for example. So that is something that you would go through. So when I do that, it's not all in my head, it's all written down. And so what's going to happen is that when I do a site audit, and when I get someone to do a site audit, I would literally hand the person this workflow and say that, if you go through this workflow, what's your experience of going through this whole process itself? So rather than have to tell the person someone else over and over again, you kind of do this once, you map it out, you kind of have it documented. And once it's documented, you then are able to kind of present it to another person. So that kind of really speeds up the process, but it also helps you clarify your thoughts and the entire process of how you would go through. All right, so I hope this is helpful. If any questions about how to map out a process, or how to identify a system for your business, feel free to drop me a note either via email, Twitter, or even in the comments below. I'll be more than glad to kind of help you out, just walk you through the process and tell you what is the best way that you can kind of document your entire process itself. But the key thing is, especially if you're a solopreneur, please do yourself a favor and have these systems mapped out right at the start, because it's gonna save you a ton of time later on. All right? Okay, so that's it for me today. Thank you. My name is Melvin, and talk to you again. Bye-bye.